leadership. Icebreaker is 4 to 6 minutes, and topic is the story of me.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and distinguished guests. My name is Dishman. I am originally from Jacksonville, Florida, where I had the privilege of growing up in a very uniquely large family. My mom and my dad were high school sweethearts, and they got married the week after my mom graduated. She was 17 and my dad was 19. I am the youngest of their 4 children, but when I was 5 months old, my mother fought a very short, hard battle with leukemia and died. My father remarried very quickly after that, and together he and my stepmom had 5 more children, bringing the grand total of kids in my family up to a whopping 9 children. My parents' friends would often joke with them that they had enough kids running around that they could start their own baseball team. Growing up in such a large family was fun, it was chaotic, it was hilarious because there were so many of us that sometimes our dad would even forget our names. He would look at me and say, "Sherry, Heather, you know which one you are, I'm talking to you." And we would get a good chuckle out of it, and I'd say, "Yeah, I'm Rebecca, remember me, your daughter?" And we'd move on our merry little way. About 15 years ago, I decided to move to Atlanta to pursue a love of law and politics. I took a job down at the Georgia State Capitol as a legislative aide, and that is where I fell in love with the legal process. Shortly after completing my time there, I decided to attend Kennesaw State University and obtained my paralegal, all while working full-time at a law firm. I think I was a little bit crazy. I bit off probably a little more than I could chew, but somehow on 4 hours of sleep a night, I made my way through and obtained my paralegal and moved forward in my career. I met my husband just a few weeks later, and we've been together ever since. We've been married for 9 years, and we have 2 amazing kids, Charlotte and Carter. I'm currently 6 years into the most favorite job I have ever held in my life. I have these clients that are complicated, to say the least. They are really demanding. They are hard to please. They are sometimes really obnoxious. But simultaneously, they are also an absolute delight and joy. They are some of the most wonderful people I've ever had the privilege of serving. They want me on call 24/7. They offer me 0 monetary payment. Their idea of payment is love, hugs, snuggles, the occasional compliment, and then all of that happens on their own terms. In all seriousness, taking a step back from my career and choosing to be home for these last 6 years and raise my children while they were young has been a true highlight, a joy, and a privilege. And I'm very grateful that I had the opportunity to do that. As I entered the journey of motherhood, I had no idea what was waiting ahead of me. I noticed that first year of my daughter's growth and development that things were a little bit off. She wasn't sitting up quite like she should. She wasn't crawling on time. There were several milestones that seemed delayed. I kept raising these concerns to my pediatrician and telling her something's not right. And she kept brushing me aside, saying, "You're just an over-worried first-time mom. She's gonna be fine." And I could never shake the feeling that something wasn't right. So at 18 months, we switched pediatricians, and the new doctor quickly agreed with us that something was off. He referred us to physical therapy and told us to seek out neurology and threw out a couple of possible very scary diagnoses. We went on our way. 2 days later, at an ultrasound, we discovered that our unborn son had a cleft lip birth defect, and the perinatologist couldn't tell us how severe it may or may not be. She said, I'm very sorry to tell you this, but you're gonna need to leave and start seeking a surgical team, because shortly after your son's birth, he's probably gonna need surgery. We were overwhelmed, to say the least. We felt like our world was crumbling. We were worried for both of our children, and we just didn't know where to go from there. The next 5 years of our life would look like a lot of therapy and surgeries and hospital stays. To date, it's not an exact number, but it's a very safe estimate to say that between my 2 children, we have had over 5,000 medical appointments in the last 5 years. It has been exhausting and hard. Being in this world has afforded me a lot of opportunity to sit in waiting rooms and listen to other parents and caretakers who are pouring their heart and soul into these individuals that they love with all varying types of disabilities, abilities, and diagnoses. I'm grateful to say that because of government funding and private funding, my daughter has been the recipient of a lot of early intervention, and on Friday she's going to graduate her very last therapy because she is developmentally caught up to where she needs to be. But that's not just because of us, that's because of a lot of amazing programs out there. But as I've sat in these waiting rooms and listened to these parents and these caretaker stories, I realize there's a lot of gaps in our community, a lot of gaps that our government really needs to step in and make legislation or change legislation to help other families like mine. I looked at my resume, I look at my family, my personal stake, and I think, what's my part to play in this? And I realized that I have an education, I have an experience, and I have a personal stake in the story. So it's my hope that my time here at Toastmasters will help me sharpen up some skills so that I can join a special needs lobbying group to go be a face and an advocate for all of these families and help the state of Georgia make the changes that need to happen for this community. Thank you.
Thank you.